Her parents didn't have enough money for treatment until they were given a helping hand from Norway. This report shares her moving story, but we warned you could find some of these images hard to watch.
After numerous doctor's visits, medical assessments and surgeries, 18-month-old Runa Begum is getting a chance of being the little baby she really is. Remarkable considering soon after birth in a remote village in northeastern India, doctors gave her just a few months of survival. It's still painful, but sitting on her mother's lap, seeing her face are simple things Runa could not do until now. Runa is diagnosed with hydrocephalus, a disorder causing fluid to build up in the brain.
Day by day, her head started growing larger. It became very difficult for us to carry her.
Her parents couldn't afford to treat her, but thanks to an outpouring of goodwill halfway across the globe and a leading private hospital in New Delhi, Runa is now in a much better place. This is Runa 4 months ago. At 94 centimeters, the circumference of her head was almost triple that of a normal baby. There were 10 liters of excess fluid inside her brain. The skin so stretched, pulling her eyelids over her eyes, making it impossible for Runa to see. Neurosurgeon Sandeep Vaishya has treated hundreds of babies with hydrocephalus before, but he's never seen anything like this.
I was horrified. I just felt so sorry for the baby that it was actually a pitiful sight. The only way the father could hold the child was by holding on the side of her head and just lifting her up.
Standard treatment for hydrocephalus is a cerebral shunt, inserting a hollow tube into the brain, draining the fluid into another part of the body.
Doctors have been draining out the excess fluid from little Runa Begum's head for days, but this is the main surgery.
Vaishya appears calm, but he admits the risks in this case are high.
You have to generally put in a straight tunnel through it, and the head size is so big that you can't take a straight trajectory there, and the skin is so papery thin.
There were times when they almost lost her, Vaishya later tells us, but Runa pulled through and is now ready to go home.
You can see she's much more playful. She's moving her hands all around. She holds toys. She cries a lot.
Did you ever think it would be this successful?
To be truthful, no. We never expected that we could reduce it to this size or she would improve to this extent.
We traveled to Runa's village to see how she's coping.
We're seeing baby Runa after 5 surgeries now, and her parents say she's almost 10 kilos lighter and she's become the joy of this village.
Her head is now down to 58 centimeters. Curious visitors keep dropping by. Fatima and Abdul Rahman, still unaware, who helped pay for Runa's treatment.
Hi, Jonas.
We introduced them to Jonas Borskrevink, more than 4,000 miles away in Norway.
She's a feisty little child. Hello.
Jonas and another student, Natalie Krantz, put up Runa's pictures on a crowdfunding website in April. In 4 months, they raised $60,000.
I want to ask them how they see their future regarding Runa Begum.
They hope that she will be healthy, like a normal child, that she'll be able to go to school.
It's too early to tell if Runa will ever be completely normal. Many operations still lie ahead, but the sign...
That was a touching story. Now in the U.S., it's been some 50 years since Dr. Martin Luther King delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech to a crowd in Washington. The dream was racial equality in America, and the speech was a crucial moment in the country's history, helping to build momentum for the passage of the Civil Rights Trail. And since then, there has been great strides in reducing social inequality. But today, there are still calls for more to be done, including the U.S. President himself, Barack Obama, who is scheduled to speak as part of events marking the anniversary celebration that would happen at the Lincoln Memorial.
Today, about 250,000 people marched on the National Mall on Washington to demand change. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. sharing his dream for America from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. His indelible words, a watershed moment in the civil rights movement. Today, thousands will gather once again to commemorate those now famous words that forever changed our country.
50 years ago, there was so much fear. People were afraid to be afraid. The fear is gone. Our country is better, and we are better people. We still have a distance to go.
That distance front and center today as the nation's first black president will add his vision as the marquee speaker at the anniversary celebration. President Obama acknowledges that while a lot of progress has been made, King would not be satisfied.
We have not made as much progress as the civil and social progress that we've made, and that it's not enough just to have a black president.
There are renewed calls for addressing socioeconomic and racial disparities. The recent acquittal of George Zimmerman and the shooting death of Trayvon Martin drew many to the streets across the country in protest. The president reacting with personal candor.
There are very few African-American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me.
Received equipment worth over $4 million as part of F1's by the camp. And before we go, a reminder of our headlines once again. Local organic oil and soap producer Georgia Organics has received equipment worth over $4 million as part of efforts by the Gambia government and the UNDP to promote sustained economic growth and development. 10 out of the over 20,000 candidates who sat the 2013 Gambia Basic Education Certificate examination have scored aggregate 6. Disturbing footage detailing the gravity of the alleged chemical weapons attack in Syria continue to shock the world whilst the international community considers what next step to take. And 50 years after Dr. Martin Luther King's famous I Have a Dream speech, Americans, including President Barack Obama, are still calling for more efforts geared towards ensuring equality. That brings us to the end of this edition of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Stay tuned and enjoy Grts.
Hi there, I am Patu Jasi. You're watching Sports Night coming to you from Grts, your midweek sports show that looks at some of the key happenings in Gambian sports. Coming in tonight's edition, the Gambia Football Federation briefs the nation on their first major assignment as the Gambia prepares to host Tanzania in the final round of qualifiers for the 2014 World Cup. Welcome to Sports Tonight. Officials of the Gambia Football Federation have convened their first press briefing since officially taking charge of the affairs of Gambian football. The media briefing seeks to update the public on the level of preparations ahead of the Gambia-Tanzania encounter on the 7th of September. The game between the Scorpions of the Gambia and the Taifa Stars of Tanzania is the last round of qualifiers for the 2014 World Cup and will be the first major assignment of the new GFF executive. Sportsnet now brings to you the press briefing held at the Football House.
Officer has facilitated this press briefing, which is very important because, as I always say, there is no football without press, and there is no press without